everybody, and welcome to the Struggling Artist Turntable for December of 2024. Jesus, you know what? We missed our anniversary of doing these.
Really?
Wasn't it like a November? Wasn't it in November of 20... when Jeff and Mike had joined? Wasn't it like November of 2022?
It was definitely the fall. It was like October or November or something.
Yeah. With me, as always, Chris Chavez and Jeff Bousquet.
Yo.
Guys, how we've been? How's things? I know there's a lot of fucking bullshit going on in the world. But
That's an understatement.
yeah, I know. I just I did a Struggling Artist radio episode, and I made Chris do one and use that one instead because I was so not good mentally because of all the bullshit that's going on.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was the tough one. But yeah, how are we doing? How's things been otherwise? Chris?
Cool. Doing good.
Yeah.
Same
You
old,
look
same
good.
old.
You look good.
Yeah. It's not been great.
No, I know.
It's not been great.
I
Somewhere in between, I think still grief and somewhere in between grief and formulating plans and somewhere in between grief and action, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And fear, abject fear.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just trying to focus on things
Yeah.
this.
Right.
Yeah.
We've got a really. I feel like this is a really strong show today because I seem to loved everything that we listened to. But before we get started, let's Chris tell us what we're doing today. What are we doing? What is the turntable?
We're talking music. We are talking music. We do this every month. We bring a local pick and we bring an X Factor. And this month's X Factor was suggested by Jeff and picked by the fans, the listeners.
Listeners, don't call a fan sounds it's cringy.
The fans of Trev Allen said, we want to hear.
Fans is cringy, dude. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Say we want to hear about dogs. Let's hear you guys talk about dags.
I like dags.
So we'll see how it goes.
Pups.
Cool. All right. Well, yeah. So I don't know. I feel like I didn't write an outline for this, so here we are. Kind of
Winging it, dude. It's the end of the year, man. It's starting to get where you're just you know
We're
what?
getting there. Senioritis.
This
Yeah.
is the last. This is the last month. This would be for the last. This is the last turntable of 2024. We are going to kick off 2025 with our best of 2024 list, which will be cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, we might have a special guest. I don't know. I gotta figure that part out. But yeah, it's the end of the year. It's the holiday season. And my X Factor was food. Wasn't it food or I don't know. It was something. No, I don't know.
That would have been a good one.
I don't remember what my pick was. I really don't.
That would have been a fine X Factor. We could still do that.
I feel like.
But I like letting the
October-
listeners pick.
I feel
Yeah.
like October was 6 years ago. I feel so disconnected right now. I don't know. I'm gonna snap out of this because I'm talking with two of my favorite people in the world. So, it's gonna make me, momentarily happy to do this. So,
A little bit of an escape for right now.
yeah, it is. I hope we can provide that for some people. That's the way to do it. Jeff, your camera's so good. I'm just sorry. Yeah, all right. So
I'm telling you, one of these days, Trev's going to ask me to help him move. Just buttering me up or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna have you come hey, I want to do this podcast with in person. Can you bring that camera?
Yes, definitely.
So, yeah, all right. So we're gonna take a quick break. We're moving right along. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna come back. I'm gonna talk about our local picks. We'll be right back. are back with our picks for the local. The local picks are as self-explanatory. They are we use the word local kind of loosely around here in the struggling artist world. I think I've used Tennessee because I lived there before,
Regional.
Yeah, we do like a regional or where we've lived in the past or some kind of connection, right?
Whatever country you're from.
So if a band is on a label from like your town or your city, but they live somewhere else, that counts. Yeah. So we're gonna Jeff, you're gonna kick.
Or if you have a connection to that band.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would work too.
Like some sort of connection. Like you used to live in Tennessee or a connection to that place or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. I think that would work. I think that works. So I don't know. I know I should have said this in the first block, but I'm really excited about everyone's picks. I really am. Like I had a good time listening to these. I went through them all again today, just like while I was cleaning my house, and like I had a lot of fun with this list. I have a lot to say. Hopefully, I always get nervous with things because I'm like, I hope I get this right. I hope I didn't say it wrong. But yeah, so we're gonna start with our local picks. Jeff, you're gonna kick things off.
Yeah. So my local pick was the new release by some kind of infernal machine, which I'm going to be honest. So this is, I'm not going to say it's never happened before, but it's rarely happened before. But I have a confession. My confession is that I have not listened to this entire record yet. I got so excited about it, and I was this is my local pick. And then I listened to I was listening to it in my car at the time when I was like super stoked about bringing it as a pick and sending it to you guys. And I was like on my way to work, and then just like got through 2 songs and like haven't, because it's the type of thing where it's like it's our friends, and I refuse to like passively listen to. Yeah. I want to like sit down and like absorb.
Yes.
Some kind of infernal machine, of course, is a band with our pal Growler from Thou Merciless Graves. This is one of Growler's other projects, or Growler's other project that she's doing, and it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Got very kind of raw, haunted folk feels. I hear some similarities to structurally, melodically, what's going on with Thou Merciless Graves, but this is also different in its own thing in very many ways. And the record is called Ominous Majesty. It just was released on Halloween, October 31st, and it's really awesome. I apologize, Some Kind of Infernal Machine, for not having yet completed listening to the entire thing. I think I've gotten through the first 3 songs, but I love it. And I cannot wait to see you guys play live. I had an opportunity to see you guys play live recently. Or I know you guys played live recently. They played with Matt Charette and Sonny Jim Clifford. I was really excited about seeing that as well. And I was not able to make it to that either. I was super bummed, but yeah.
Dude, I loved this. I absolutely loved it. I wrote down just a few words as I was listening because I didn't want to keep typing. I literally got lost in it. Yeah. I wrote dark music. It's haunting and forlorn. And you know what? It sounded like it could be the soundtrack to kind of like a really kind of spooky, again, haunting musical. Mm-hmm. It was so good. The vocals just so rich and just, I just keep coming back to the word haunting because that's what this feels like. It feels like a very haunting feel. It's almost kind of fitting that it was released on Halloween. Yeah, man, this was man, I loved it. I loved the mood of it. I love the feel of it. I love the sound of it. Yeah, it obviously it makes sense that it's Growler's project. It feels like Growler's kind of thing. You know what I mean? Yeah, dude, I dug this. This was a big one. I ended up, a lot of times we'll listen through them and I think to myself, mental note, go back and buy it. Make sure to go back and buy it. And I didn't. So it wasn't until we started getting into it just now that I was like, oh, that's right, I got to buy this. And I just did because I got to have that on my collection. It's such a good album. 6 songs. You call that an album or is that an EP? 6 songs.
Yeah, that's always tricky. It's right in between.
Yeah.
Does it depend on the length
I
of
would
the like
call
the.
it.
think so.
I would call this an EP.
Yeah, I think
EP.
it's yeah. I think with 6 songs, it depends on the length, right? If it's
Yeah.
like psychedelic metal, that's like 7-minute songs, then you can call it an album.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Okay.
This one's
Yeah.
this is quick.
Loved it though. Loved it.
Yeah. So, all right, when Jeff brought this, I was like, I didn't realize it was a new album. I thought it was the demos because I've heard the demos before. That's on their Bandcamp, and I was like, wait a minute, this is a new album. How did I miss this on the radar? How did this get by me? I had no idea this dropped, and I was kind of upset about it. again, I'm not like, I don't know everything that's going on, but like these algorithms really mess with me lately, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So I wrote this because I wrote this is set up like a musical, a gothic musical. Please make this one. So that's what I wrote.
See, this is awesome because she will. Like, if you want her to, if you ask her to, like, she will.
Where I look at Thou Merciless Graves is a rock opera to me. Like, it's a little different. This is more like a musical. Like, there's these dramatic pauses between songs. Have you guys noticed that? Like, the song ends and there's a couple seconds, and then there's a couple seconds before the next one starts. And like, I feel like you could really, like, with a musical, that you could have these like vignettes with dialogue in between those. It would set up, and then it cuts into it like it's like a setup for the next song.
Yeah.
I mean, as I was listening to this, all of this came into my head. All these ideas came into my head, like how this could be a big musical, like a traveling musical production, and like, with actors and people, you know what I mean? Like, and like, like the lights like fade out. And it fades on to like the band after the dialogue, like I really like the whole thing. I envisioned it all.
You should write it.
you
should talk to Growler and write it, and like we'll do it. We'll do it at the Rockwell.
We made a pact, and I'm saying this is.
I'll run the tech.
We made a pact by Halloween next year.
I'll film it.
Her and I were gonna have like a project that we did together. So
Yeah. Well, I told her I'm gonna go to, like, if she gets the band to perform at Fringe in Edinburgh, I'm going. I'm going to see them.
Yeah.
Like, but like, that's the way Growler writes music, and that's also the way Growler performs music.
Yeah.
Like, everything that Growler does is a theatrical production.
I absolutely loved this. I love Thou Merciless Graves. I love Growler. She's one of my favorite people. And like this, like, yeah, she's so talented, and I'm sure this is a group effort, right? It's a band, but like, just the ideas and the storytelling with the music, like like she could give classes on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
And then, so yeah, I want to see this. Like, I really do. I want to see this as a musical with like little vignettes with dialogue. And then I wrote, this is devilish gothic music that's fun for the whole family. Get Off My Lawn is just the opening track, like I'm like, yes 100%. And I want to talk about like there's another song on here called Hard to Kill, which I've seen performed at Thou Merciless Grave shows too. And it's a very, very emotional song, very personal song for Growler, very emotional song for and it reflects in the performance, and it's an incredible tune. So and I liked this version of it too, because this is like I feel like this is a little bit different than the version I've seen live. So amazing stuff. I'm pumped that this is a thing. I am upset that I didn't know about it until you know what I mean?
I'm upset that I got excited about sharing it, and then I was like, here's my locals, and then I was like, got so caught up in listening to your picks, like from the two of you over the past like week, you know, and I was listening to everybody's picks, and I was like, wait, my own picks. I haven't listened to my own picks enough. I mean, listen, we bring a lot of this, like the spooky vibes with the folk music here, but like this is like, so I mean, if you look at their Bandcamp, they call it Gothic Americana Apocalyptic LARP Rock.
Nice.
Yeah, spider core. Like I don't even know if these are real things. But it fits everything that they're saying. You know what I mean? Yeah, everyone's got to check this one out. Seriously.
Oh yeah.
It's just so good. So
For sure. For sure. All right, my local. Coming out of Buffalo, New York, I'm bringing Queen City Knights. Knights like Knights of the Round Table. Name of the album or EP? EP. So It Goes. I came across this band, so I love that we do this show because it makes me focus on the local, and I also do my 716 podcast, so I want to try to find new acts to follow and get into. And I also do 716 The Sound on Struggling Artist Radio, and so I'm constantly on Bandcamp looking for new music and new artists that I've not heard before. And this was one that I found, building a playlist for the radio show. And as soon as I heard it, I was hooked because this had so many different sounds and like feelings from so much music that I listened to growing up. And I just loved it. It hooked me right away. I wrote, this goes, So It Goes is post-alternative hard rock metal. It's driving and rhythmic, heavy and melodic, grooving and shredding. Absolutely sounds great. And it does. To me, it's got a little bit of that alternative kind of rock sound, but there's so much infusion of like almost like that late 70s, early 80s metal. You know what I mean? Like I think of Iron Maiden comes to mind when I'm listening to these guys, not in terms of like the vocals, but some of the way the music is played and the guitars are played. And I love when there's like shredding on a guitar, right? But like if you're shredding and you're just doing it, there's different ways of it working, right? And like for me for this band and this album, it works because it's like it fits right in that pocket, right in that moment when you got to go off and then come back into whatever you're doing, right? Whether you're coming back into your chorus or you're back into another verse, or whatever you're doing. But for this band, I absolutely love it. Love the music. It brings me back, like I said, to growing up, listening to all different kinds of like heavy rock and metal. It checks off all the boxes for me. I absolutely love this one.
Yeah, this wasn't, I don't know, like I feel like, and we'll get into it a little bit later too with Jeff's other pick, but like I feel like we all kind of brought something that's not so typical for us this month. And maybe not with mine, I don't know. But for you two. And this one was one of those ones, and I'm like, I was kind of, so we rescheduled our recording of this, and I'm glad we did because it gave me more time. You know what I mean? Like to listen to it more. This, I mean, we were just talking about like what constitutes like an EP or whatever. There's just 4 songs, but they're all like 4-minute songs, you know? So like there's a lot going on, and like I don't know, man. What I wrote was like, this is a mixture of hard rock and indie rock, but don't let that description fool you. This band stands out amongst others with its wild metal riffs that come out of nowhere. And then the last song, Underbelly Underfoot, like that was my jam when I was listening to this. Like I went back and visited that one again. You know, I'm glad it was I'm gonna buy it, but it's a name your price album, so like there's no limits to how many times you can listen. You know what I mean? So because I did listen to this one on repeat a few times, so it's definitely going on into my my Bandcamp library.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I noticed, to me, the 2 picks that you brought, and we'll talk about this, like obviously with that when we get to our X Factors too, but both of your picks this month, Chris, to me, were very reminiscent of a lot of sounds I feel like I associate with the like late 2000s and early 2010s.
I see that,
this period of time where like a lot of bands that were in this like alt indie world, like the Walkmen, the Bravery. The Bravery might have been a little earlier. Hot Heat, Interpol. Like, I don't know. Just like there was a handful of bands around that time, and I feel like on popular radio and in the popular mainstream, it was kind of a little bit like pre maybe a little bit pre Kings of Leon, where like Kings of Leon was like a little softer, poppier at parts, but like before that, like Middle Class Rut, there was like a handful of bands that had a fuzzy alt rock like vibe that kind of floated somewhere between punk and alt and like 90s alt rock type of stuff. And both of your picks this month to me felt like they were kind of in that world, which was fun. And my X Factor pick too, a little bit, also. So like, I feel like, yeah, those three kind of were on the same page or kind of in the same world. Queen City Nights' record had, to me, like leaned a bit more on the punk side. Like they had a bit more like fast, fuzzy, like kind of punk influence, but it overall was like, yeah, just this kind of like fast, powerful, like dense sort of like alt rock that really reminded me of kind of like around that time. There is a handful of other bands I'm forgetting the names of too, like that I can't think of. TV on the radio. I don't know.
Yeah, that was it. I mean, it was one of my new recent favorites for sure. Queen City Nights.
Cool. All right. I guess it's time for my local. Out of Worcester, Massachusetts, we have Mass Spy, the EP, debut EP, Not For Sale. I absolutely love Chris. This is his band. This is Chris's band. Chris from the Scars. And I love Jamie from Loser Circle, and he's in this band too. And I've recently met I forgot the drummer's name, but he's in the Poorman. And this is a really good project. This is what got me, like, this style of Boston street rock with the anthemic songs and like fist pumping in the sky and the frustration lyrics. Like, this is what got me into like Boston punk rock, this kind of stuff. And Chris does it very well. He does acoustic stuff well. I got to see this band. I got to see them play at their record release show, and I was so pumped. Like, I was like so happy for Chris to have, because like I felt like he was like dying to have a band again for a while. Like, he played a house show at my house, and a guy showed up that was like supposed to like play bass for his band. Like, he was like, he went and check him out or what. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is like straight up. This is like my style of punk rock. This is what I love the most. That brings me back to discovering everything that was out in Boston back in the early 2000s, late 90s. Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna have Chris on. I'm gonna have Chris on at some point so we can talk about the band and everything that he's got going on. It's a nice, quick little EP, and like I said, the lyrics, very frustrated lyrics, very direct lyrics, very in your face kind of, and it's just, again, it goes back to everything that I absolutely love. In live, they have great energy too, live, and yeah, so check it out if you haven't already. Mass Spy, Not For Sale. What did you guys think?
I thought it was cool. It's cool because I didn't realize that Jamie was in the band. I missed that. And also, so I've never met Chris, but I definitely, I think I saw the Scars obviously way back in the day, probably once. I'd have to go back and look at like old show flyers or like talk to Derek, because I don't know if they ever played with OC45 or like when it would have been that I would have seen them. But I think towards the very end, I did get to see them before Dave Wells was started doing more solo stuff, and so that's cool. I didn't realize that was who the band was. But I wrote down it's straightforward, pulls no punches, socio-political street punk. I thought the mix on it was a bit dry for my taste. Like, I don't know, there was something about it that sounded like just a little, like I just wanted it to be like a little denser, a little bigger. But I think this style of music, you know, that's just kind of how it is. It wants to be like really sort of flat and raw and in your face, and I think like that was what they were going for. He kind of almost does this like, it's so sort of blunt that it almost leans into like spoken word at points in it.
Yeah.
Which like, I don't know, for me, like it's maybe not as much my thing, but I can understand like why it works and like why a lot of people love it. I think lyrically, to me, it reminded me a lot of like, it sounded to me like he was kind of trying to do stuff along the lines of like what Bad Religion does and like Descendants do. Like as far as like the lyrics they tend to be like more literal, as opposed to poetic. Like they're very like straightforward lyrics that are kind of like not sort of making anything, like up to guess, like it's like you know exactly what he's singing about, you know. And so I thought that was kind of cool. I thought like it was good. It was just like a little, I don't know, there was like something missing for me that I imagine is filled in probably with the energy when they're live, because I really liked the energy of it, and I liked the anger, and obviously like it's music that's needed at this point in time. So yeah, I would definitely still love to see them live.
I think it came at a really it wasn't planned that way, but it came at a really good time. You know what I mean? Like you said, like it's needed right now. So Chris is great. Chris is a huge supporter of like the local stuff too. Like we met like we just started talking at a show because, you know, like the two tallest guys in the room kind of spot each other, you know, and like he had and he had listened to the podcast before too, and like so like we've hung out, like we try to because he lives out kind of this way, so he lives out closer to me, so like we'll try to plan shows like, hey, are you like to commute together with, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and but I left my sunglasses in his car, and I'm still trying to get them back. I keep forgetting them. Every time
like
I see
the
him.
excuse for a pickup line. Like
I know. I need friends. I love friends, so we'd have to hang out with me again. Nah. So yeah, it was. You're right, Jeff. They are, the energy live is really good, man. And like, I can't wait to see what's next. I know. Chris really wanted to get this out there, and I'm really happy for him. I don't know. It just seems like he's at home now that he's got at home with the band. You know what I mean? So, what about you, Mr. Chavez? What did you think?
It was cool. No, I love this kind of music too, dude. Like the street punks, and to me, there was elements of skate punk in there too. Like I could hear this on a Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and I say that all the time when I come across bands like this. But that's to me, that brings back happiness, right? Like aside from the actual skating, when I used to go out skating with my friends, I just also remember just this music ties deeply into that game franchise, right? So anytime I hear something that reminds me of it, that's the first thing that comes to mind. It's like, oh, this would be great. Like in my mind, I'm like, this would be great to play the Warehouse in. Like I'd pick this, you know what I mean? Put this track on and play the Warehouse. I put down, it's funny because you both said straightforward. I wrote straightforward on my thing here also. I said it's solid, straightforward, simple. I said for a 3-piece, they sound pretty thick in terms of feeling more like maybe it was a four piece or whatever. But yeah, I enjoyed it, dude. I enjoy that kind of music as well. And you're right. It's almost like it was fitting for the times. When you start really listening to the lyrics, you're just like, huh, when did this come out? Last week? You know what I mean?
They predicted the future.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about dogs. We'll be right back. And we're back, and it's time for our X Factor. Jeff, Your pick for the X Factor won the polls. We took this to the polls and you won. Tell us about your inspiration for picking dogs.
I have a dog, and I love dogs. And dogs. I mean, does it really need an explanation? I mean, come on. I don't know.
You just say the word dogs. There's your answer.
Dogs, because dogs. Because dogs are the best.
I will say this: I got mad at the both of you because both of you guys had like dead dogs involved with your.
I don't know if mine had a dead dog.
So my X Factor pick was the second in a series of 2 records that had the same cover, and the first cover of the first record has this little dog on it, which is why I brought it as my X Factor. I don't
jelly.
I don't know. In the second record, which is the one that I chose, the dog is like flipped over on its side with like a little bloody, like it looks like it's dead, but it's not a real dog. It's just a cartoon. It's just like a CGI cartoon. You know.
I was still upset when I saw it. So, well, let's talk about it, man. Let's talk about this band.
Yeah. So my X Factor, they're called Low Tom, and this was just called LP2. But I did a little bit of digging into this band, and I really like the sound. It's like again, it kind of goes into the fuzzy like alt rock kind of vibes that I was talking about earlier, like with Chris's band, the picks that Chris brought this month. But it like reminded me of like earlier 2000s, like kind of like fuzzy, like rock stuff that I couldn't quite like put my finger on, but I was just like, I know there's something there that reminds me of that. But I was looking at this band. So this record, they're calling it an LP. It's 8 songs. So again, it's like right on the margin of EP and LP or whatever. But like there was LP1, which is the dog standing up on the front cover, and then there's LP2, which is the dog like knocked over, but he's like a little chihuahua with sunglasses on, and even in the knocked over picture, it's like kind of cute.
Yeah, he's stiff as a board, dude. He's rigor mortis.
Because he's not real. But this LP came out. It was released on September 11th, actually, 2020. Haven't seen anything from them since. They did the first record in 2017, and then they did this record in 2020. So I don't know if it's like still a project that's going on, but the main creator of this project is like the guy from he was in the band Pedro the Lion, which I don't think I ever really listened to, but I know they were like quite well known for a while, and I think still are. I think his name is like David Bazan, or D. He goes like by like D Bazan. I think it's David, but I forget what his first name is. But I kind of found a familiarity in the vocals of this, and I was trying to put my finger on where I had heard it before, and I think that's where I heard it before, because some of the Pedro the Lion stuff did make it to like mainstream radio, I think, and like kind of got around a bit, and like I remember hearing that band a lot. I haven't heard anything from them recently either, so I'm not sure if they're still active right now or not. But yeah, so this was like another side project of his, and it's got just like cool, like kind of, again, straightforward indie alternative. I'd put it in that world. Great guitar riffs. Like the vocals are kind of like catchy and like smooth, like kind of melodic, like almost like mellow a little bit. My favorite track off this is Out of Here, which is the third track on the record. And it came to me, I actually found this music. It was an autoplay on Spotify. It autoplayed after I was listening to something else. I don't even remember what. And happened to notice that I kind of liked it, and I was like, what is that record that kept playing? And I like put it back on, and I was listening to it. And then when Dogs won, I was like, ooh, the cover has a dog on it. I'm using it.
There you go.
So this wasn't a true like dog theme, but as we always say, our X Factors can be anything. So even the cover art, the theme, the name of the band, the name of the album, the name of songs on the album. It can be like a overall concept, whatever it is. And so sometimes I just like picking like a cover art idea and going with it. And I was like, well, there's a little pup on the cover, even though he's maybe dead. So yeah.
Nice. Dude, I enjoyed this a lot. I wrote down immediately, alternative indie rock and roll. I said, "Oh, what a surprise, synths!" Because all of a sudden there's synth in some of the music, and I was just like, "Oh, okay, this is nice." I wrote this down too, and I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen again, but something about it feels like Roadhouse music. Like there was this kind of almost driving bluesy undertone to parts of it where I was just like, I don't know, this feels like this could be something that you would hear, in a soundtrack for Roadhouse or something. You know what I mean? Not too much of that, the country rock and roll or the rebel rock sound to it, but there's something about it, right? And yeah, that's what I put for this. I really did enjoy this. This was a good one.
Yeah, this was good. Again, I feel like Chris, your picks kind of went, or at least your local pick kind of like has the same familiar sound to it, like this one does. I wrote down, is this post rock? That's how I wrote. I don't know. I don't know these terms. You know that, but it's funny. I was talking to somebody. I want to say I was talking with Arya, and he had said like, I wish it was still called alt rock instead of indie music or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like where I don't know why the name changed, but it is. It's alternative rock and roll, right? And this, like, to me it sounded super well produced, like put together. I feel like this would be like radio play. Like these guys would get radio play. And you could pick any one of these songs. They sounded like something that could be on the radio, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, right? That's it's definitely it's radio worthy.
Yeah.
But they're bangers too. Like they're good songs. Like there's nothing that's gonna, like, I don't know how to put it. Like it's not something like if you hear on the radio, like you're gonna stop and be like, oh, what is this? As opposed to like it being like kind of like background noise, Yeah. I dug this one. I dug this one. I felt bad for the little Chihuahua guy, but
I like. What's funny is I just went back and looked at my recents on Spotify to kind of get because I can't remember what they autoplayed afterwards. But I was listening to. I went through a kick. Well, I went through a kick a couple weeks ago for obvious reasons that we don't need to get into right now. Where I was very, very actively, very intentionally listening to really sad music and shit that just makes me feel feelings. And I was listening to a lot of Dawes, the band Dawes, and
I can feel that.
Dawes, Deer Tick, Delta Spirit, and Matthew Vasquez, who is the front man of Delta Spirit, who also does a lot of solo stuff. I was listening to all that, and I'm pretty sure this record auto played after some Dawes stuff, which is funny because it's not to me it's actually not that similar. Dawes is different. Like Dawes has a much more Americana kind of rock sound,
like a folkier, right?
much more folky, more.
I could feel it though. I could feel it,
but like in that California, like Low Tom is a Los Angeles based band. And I think Pedro the Lion is as well. The guy that fronted both of these bands. I
wonder if that was the tie from Dawes to
Pedro like
the
a
Lion.
Los Angeles rock, like a canyon rock, kind of like canyon rock sort of sound that comes from that whole sort of like I guess it's Laurel Canyon or whatever, like area of the Los Angeles area that's known for a lot of music. So I don't know, maybe that was the connection, but yeah, I dug it. I really dug it. So it'd be cool if they came back. I don't know. We'll see.
You know, it's funny about I learned about Dawes a few years ago because of Luke and Russ Condon.
Yes,
they're big Dawes guys.
Similar vibes to Tom.
Yeah, for sure. So
nice.
Yeah.
All right, my X Factor. is a band that's also a Buffalo band.
Another
The
band.
band's
Oh.
Johnny Nobody. The album is Die Like Dogs. I came across this band, so I think I brought Roger Bryan and the Orphans to
That
this
sounds
show
familiar.
before.
Yeah, I think you did too.
Yeah, and so I had Roger Bryan on my podcast. We were talking, and he's a part of a record label here called Harvest Some Records. They've been around for 20 years, and the bands that they have a number of bands on that label, some that aren't around anymore, but it was one of those things where it kind of reminds me of some of you guys out there, the New England, the kind of like the group of homies you guys all have, where it's kind of an interchangeable incestuous style thing where, like, you know, you have, this is one band, then you have like the guitarist from this band and the drummer from this band play with the bassist from this other band and the singer from this other band, and now they're this band, you know what I mean? And so it's kind of like the way there's KCUF and then Coffin Salesman, and you know what I mean? So like the way there's all these interchangeable parts and then members that are all friends and they all make music together and then they all inspire each other to make something else new, and that goes off, right? So I learned about this all on the podcast. They've been doing it for 20 years, and then he talked about this one band, Johnny Nobody, and talked about how, you know, really good they were, and even live they're really good. So I said, let me check it out, right? So I've been listening to this ever since I had him on the show, and I just can't stop listening to it. Like, it's, for me, it's a lot of fun. I wrote on my thing as I was writing down my thoughts and impressions. I wrote, obviously, this has got alternative blues rock to it. It's grooving and rhythmic guitar music. This is guitar music. Like, this is rock guitar music. The keys are great too. There's keys in this band. It's a rollicking good time. And then I wrote these three bands down because this is kind of what it made me feel like. It's kind of like an amalgamation of Rolling Stones, Black Crowes, and the Killers. Like, it just had that feel to me. Yeah, dude, I really enjoyed this band a lot. I got a chance. So last Saturday was my first show, going to a show again since going into the hospital back at the beginning of August.
Okay.
So the last show I've been to was in mid-July. And so I went to Harvest Some, had their 20th anniversary, and they had all these bands come back. There was like one of the members lives somewhere else. They flew in just to be a part of this and do, you know, put these bands back together that weren't bands anymore. So I got to see Johnny Nobody live too, which was awesome. They were just, for sure, such a good live band.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, this is one that I enjoy listening to, and it makes me feel good when I listen to this album. I've realized this is a kind of, it's not depressing, and it's not angry. It's just kind of like, it feel, you know, and you need to feel better. You need something that kind of makes you feel good. This is definitely an album I'd put on.
This is definitely a vibe, dude. This song, I wrote down bluesy alternative rock mixed with groovy psychedelic sounds. I wrote, this is the love child of Rolling Stones and Porno for Pyros.
Nice.
Like, and that's a good, like, that's, I'm not making fun of anybody. Like, that's like, it reminded me of like a mixture of those two bands. I wrote, whatever you call this sound, they nail it. You know, like, yeah, it was good. It was good. It's like you said, like, it's a vibe. It's a good vibe. It's good vibes. And I put it on. This is another one I listened to a couple times. So, yeah.
Yeah, this was up there with like top. Probably, I mean, I know we wait till the end to pick our favorites, but this like,
You never do.
this was, I never do it. I never do. I always show all my cards immediately. I can never play
I love it.
poker. This was like energy wise and like just vibe. They call themselves fuzzed up power pop with
Nice.
unbridled punk energetics, which I think that describes it perfectly. It looks like from their Bandcamp they are a 3-piece, which is always impressive when, you know, you can get a 3-piece to fill that sound out like that.
I think they had 4 playing on stage, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It could have just
I
been
mean,
like a friend filling in or somebody playing with them.
yeah,
It was
or like when they recorded it.
yeah.
I don't know. The picture is 3 of them, but like they don't actually have liner notes on the Bandcamp site that have the names of everybody. But but yeah, again, like I said, both of your two picks and then Low Tom, like all three of those bands, like my pick, all three of those bands for me this month were like just somehow in that kind of like they just pulled me back to like this early 2010s time
Yeah.
where I just felt like that was kind of a thing that was going on. There was just a sound there that that I was digging at the time that kind of was popular that it reminds me of. But yeah, it's just that like high energy alt rock. I remember like I used to when I was a kid I used to buy Alternative Press
Oh yeah.
a
Oh
magazine.
yeah.
I used to have stacks of them in my room. There's an old picture, an old selfie I took of myself on a disposable camera that you can see the stack of Alternative Presses in my bedroom, like behind me, and it's
Nice.
awesome. It's like so great. It's like stereotypical emo kid of the mid 2000s, but I kind of dig like what you were saying, Trevor, like with Arya said about like, can we just call it all alt rock? You know, like it's just anything that's not like classic rock and roll, right? Like anything that's not like the Beatles and Elvis and the like, you know, like the original like rock and roll, and then there's like that, and then there's everything else. And it's like waste less time trying to define subgenres and subgenres and subgenres and subgenres.
Right.
And just call it alt rock. But like, yeah, I used to love that about the magazine because everything in that magazine ranged from punk to new metal to whatever. It was just like all alt rock. It was great. But yeah, no, I really dug this. This band was really great, and I'm glad you got to see them, and that was your first show back.
Yeah.
That's an awesome story.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah, dude! It was 6 bands for this 20th anniversary, and I'll tell you, everyone killer. Everyone killer. So Harvest Sum has their own Bandcamp as well, Harvest Sum Records, and there's like 4 albums for each of these bands on there. So I'll tell people to go check them all out because they're all really good bands, and I'll probably start bringing more of them to the roundtables to kind of get them more exposure too. But yeah, this one. So for me, Roger Bryan and the Orphans and Johnny Nobody are some of the top ones right there.
Nice,
Oh,
dude.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to mine. Out of New Orleans, we have probably one of my favorite discoveries of this year. Yes, ma'am. The album was called How Many People, How Many Dogs? The funny thing is I was looking for an album with dogs in it, and I put this on while I was looking for it, and I'm like, wait, I have this. And I don't know if I was like subconsciously kind of like not putting it because this is gonna. So we're gonna talk about this record again next month because it's in my top. It's in. If I have to look at my full list,
Showing his hand.
this
hand.
is probably in my top 3 favorite albums of this year.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is
Okay.
so good. I don't even know. Found them through like so they're on Flail Records. So I saw something with Flail that had Yes Ma'am, and I must have said, "What's this? Let me go find it." And I went on Bandcamp, and I started this album on Bandcamp. And after so we'll say after the second track, because the first one's an intro, right? It's not really a song. I bought the full digital discography after listening to one song.
Wow.
Then I went on Flail Records and I bought the record. I had Dr. Disc on from Goldmine magazine, and he taught me this cool thing about records where you take an index card and you write like every time, like you write the date every time you listen to a record, so you can kind of keep track of like what you're listening to. I got this record just a few months ago when I kind of like found it. And I think I've listened to it 6 times, like spinning the vinyl. I listened to the digital one, I don't know, twice a week, if not more. You know what I'm saying? This this band is definitely like on par for what Flail Records puts out, right? Flail Records puts out a lot of folky stuff that's like folk adjacent. British City Sinners is their big band on Flail Records. I think her name's Libby. She's on a song on this album with Yes Ma'am. So this is dirty swamp grass blues. This is what I call that. It's not evil, it's sinister. Like it's like I don't know how to describe the difference, but like it's like malicious behavior. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what sinister means to me. So you have, like I said, you have like blues, bluegrass, the swamp, like a real swamp kind of New Orleans sound, outlaw country with an outlaw country twang. Like this is, I cannot say enough good things about this band and about this record. I do not skip a song. I play it from the intro until the outro, which is at the end track 12. I do not skip a song here. I do not skip a song. I think the lyrics are fun. I think the music is fun. I also think it's got like a really dark undertones, like I said, like a sinister kind of thing going on, a sinister vibe going on. What else can I say? I mean, I know they got nominated for a Grammy this year, which is pretty cool. I don't know if that even happened, and or like if the Grammys have happened and if they won or not. I don't know, but I know they got nominated. Yeah, I don't know. I just really love it. I've been like sending this to a lot of people, like that, especially like different things. You know what I mean? The only out of all the people I've sent it to, and I haven't heard what your guys' thoughts are yet, but out of everyone that I sent it to, the only like kind of like critique I heard was like it sounded like it was too well produced or too overproduced or something like that. But like if you listen to all of their things, like it's I feel like this is probably the most produced one out of everything. But they're all good. It's all good. I mean, you look at the picture of the album and you just see like it's like this dirty room, drugs everywhere, beer cans everywhere, pill bottles open. Like he little. I think his name's Little Matt. That's what he goes by. He's sitting on this like love seat, and he just looks like he just had enough of life. You know what I mean? Like it's yeah. I don't know. Even in the intro, like the intro sets the tone, the vibe of what this album is. You know. I like it. I like this dirty sound that they got. And yeah, this is again, well, I'll be talking about it again in a month. So
you want to go, Chris?
Yeah, dude, the intro is what I love it because it explains the name of the album, right? Which is so awesome. So and I love it, dude. I fucking love that. Immediately the first thing I wrote was love, all in caps. I just wrote love. Americana, ragtime, folky, blues. It's foot stomping. It makes you want to move. I know what you mean when you say that swampy sound, right? It's got that feel. Yeah, man, this is definitely a highlight. As soon as I heard it, I was like, this was just like the other one, the Jeff, your local pick.
Infernal
Machines.
Some kind of
Infernal Machines, dude. It was that I had that instant reaction upon hearing it. It's
like the haunting.
I love this. I love this because it pulls you in with that intro, and you're like, "This is fun. This is gonna be fun." Okay,
yeah.
But then when the music kicks in, it's like, "Whoa, okay, this is awesome." Yeah, absolutely. This was great. Loved it.
I also there's also like a punk ethos in there. You know what I mean? Like there's definitely like a punk.
Yeah.
You know, like yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's a punk ethos in Bridge City Sinners too, right? And so, this is Lightning Luke from Bridge City Sinners. The fiddle player is in this band as well, and Libby is all over this record too. She's like credited as a. I just went back to double check that because I was like, I'm pretty sure she sings on more than one song, but she's credited as lead and background vocals, her and Luke.
Yeah.
So I was stoked when you brought this because as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, it sounds like Bridge City Sinners, but not spooky, like not ghosty. Like there's not the like haunted ghost vibe of Bridge City Sinners. There's a very straightforward, very like serious, real Southern folk country bluegrass influence here. It's like all of those things, right? It's like that swamp rock, that like Southern swamp country rock kind of thing. But there's something so like, if you took everything that I hate about pop country, like everything that most people hate about pop country, everything that's fucking awful about pop country,
yeah,
and you took like what is the exact opposite of all of that stuff that would make you love a genre of music? Like it's this, right? Like there's this authenticity of just grit and real raw human emotion that's in this style of music that I love so much. It is a style of country. Like you could describe it as country, like a country style, but it's that bluesy New Orleans, just like you said, like I can't, swamp rock sounds like the best way to describe it, but it's fucking perfect. And there is a punk ethos in there. I recently got introduced to an artist that I may bring in the future called Nick Shoulders. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him, but kind of similar vibes to where he's like from Appalachia, but I think currently like resides in the lower, like more like New Orleans or like more southern area, and
Fayetteville,
plays, Arkansas, yeah, and plays like a kind of a gritty like acoustic folk. Well, he plays with a band live, but like has that like folk country thing going on. But there's definitely like this like kind of almost like crust punk ethos to it. And I don't know, that's how I think about bands like Bridge City Sinners, and that's how I think about this band. It was cool to see like Lightning Luke is like a phenomenon to me. Like he's just like so talented, and like the like fiddle playing in Bridge City Sinners stuff is amazing. The fiddle playing in this stuff is amazing.
I've got his stuff too.
And he does solo stuff as well. Like so the dude's awesome. Super talented. Just like a powerhouse, you know. And I thought this was really, really cool. I wrote down it's like Bridge City Sinners, but it's more serious and less of the spooky witchy vibes. I feel like Bridge City Sinners has like a bit of a campy like haunted house vibe to it that's okay. Like it's fun camp, it's good camp. It's not like it's like
they're good too. You know what I mean? Like
they're great. Yeah. Whereas this is like more just kind of like, nah, like sometimes shit sucks, and like we're just gonna sing about it and like be like, you know, you don't have to be angry. You can just be like kind of tongue in cheek about it sometimes, and then like you know, like Chris said, the opening is so funny. The little voicemail, it's like, how many people, how many dogs? It's like, can we stay with you? It's like, no. Like it's just like so like and obviously I'm sure it's, I don't know, it sounds like it's kind of staged, but it's funny. And so I thought, okay, when I heard that intro, legit, when I heard that intro, had no clue what I was about to listen to.
Right.
I heard that intro and I thought it was going to be a ska record.
I thought it was a skate punk.
I 100% thought it was going to be a ska record. I thought it was 100% going to be ska. It just sounds like a ska intro.
Yeah.
But then I like started listening to it and I was like, oh shit, this is like fucking okay, cool. And immediately got that reminded of like the Bridge City Sinners vibe, and I like checked it out and I was like, oh yeah, that's Lightning Luke. He's on this record. That's fucking awesome. So, yeah, it was cool. Really, really good pick. Really good pick this month.
I can't, like, this album's so good. I'll talk about it more next month. I'm gonna shut up now. So all right, well, we made it through our picks. Let's take one more break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what our favorites were from this month. We'll be right back. We're back, and it is time to say goodbye. But before we do that, as we always do, let's talk about what our favorite picks were from this month. Chris.
No.
No.
I said, yo. All right, let's go. I'm going to go down the list of you guys' picks here. So for Trev, out of your two picks, my favorite is the last one here. It was absolutely awesome.
Yes,
you know, I think that was a given.
Are you rewriting the rules here? You're
I'm doing my own rules for Jeff's, for both of Jeff's, for the two that Jeff brought. Some Kind of Infernal Machine, my absolute favorite. I thought that was awesome as well. And then for my picks, both the Buffalo bands were awesome. I loved them.
Oh, Jesus
So,
Christ.
there you go. Those are my favorites.
You're such a homer.
I am, dude.
Next, you're going to tell me the
I
Bills
am.
are a good football team.
It is crazy how like my music consumption now in the past year now is almost exclusively regional or independent. Like I don't even go back to the stuff I used to listen to. I haven't listened to like my old school music in a while. You know
No
what I mean? It's
Meatwave?
crazy.
No Meatwave?
No, Meatwave's not a big mainstream yet. They're not that big. So yeah.
No.
But dude, yeah, it's crazy. The good picks this month, man. This was a pretty solid month, I think.
Well, yeah, I think so too. With it being the spirit of the holidays, Jeff, I guess you can pick one from each of us too, I guess. And
I mean, we had a great round of picks this month. I think my favorite overall, I guess I'm gonna go with Johnny Nobody. Die Like Dogs, and then my second favorite would be your pick, Trev. Your how many people? Yes, man. How many people? How many dogs? Yeah.
Cool.
I think it was both of those were my top two, but
Nice.
super fun.
Well, Yes Ma'am is in my best of the year, so I'm not going to pick that one for today. I was impressed with everybody's picks. A lot of different sounds, I feel like, from normal. Jeff, I have to go with some kind of Infernal Machine, though. Like, that was that's just really good. The fact that I put this on and instantly in my brain, like, I saw like this whole musical play thing going on, is just. The writing's just, it got me. So I will say too, Chris, out of yours, Queen City Nights. I was really digging that. With those wild metal riffs just popping up. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's it.
Sweet.
We're there. We're not going to do a poll this month because when we come back in January, it will be our best of 2024.
Cool.
Whether it's a new album from 2024 or something we discovered through the Turntable. What do we? Anything to promote? Everything going on? No, nobody.
Nope. Check out 716 The Sound.
Yeah.
Check out my photo page, at JRB Image. I don't know. I don't have anything else, but there's stuff hopefully in the future.
Yeah. So, all right, if you're in the Massachusetts area and you're hearing this right now, and it's the day it dropped on that Friday, which was December 6th, make your way over to Faces Brewing Company in Malden, Massachusetts for Squally Green Thumb's annual Miracle on Calm Ave show.
Oh yeah, that's tonight.
That would be tonight, and the next day, get up a little early and head over to the Midway Cafe for 3 p.m. for the Tunes for Tots show, the Loser Circle that puts on Loser Circle toy drive they put on every year. Let's see what else.
Go get yourself a COVID vaccine.
Yeah,
and then go to both these shows.
right.
There you go.
I mean, there's so much going on. Coffin Salesman's doing a quick little run with All Deep Ends, or is it just Fawn and Arya that are doing?
I think it's just fun.
Yeah, in Arya they're doing a little run. Man, whole sorts of stuff. All sorts of stuff. So, yeah, go see some shows. Go see some holiday shows. Get into the spirit of Christmas or whatever you're supposed to do. I don't know. But also, listen to the Struggling Artist podcast. Join the Patreon, patreon.com/podcast TSA. See what we got going on over there. We got a lot. You know, we did the count yesterday, and Chris and I do 5 shows together. Together we do 5 shows.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So, thanks for listening. Hey, Jeff and Chris, thank you both for another solid year of new music for all of us. And 2025, maybe in 2025, we'll remember the anniversary day of this show, of this particular show. But this was a lot of fun. So, love you guys. We'll see you later.
Cool.
Peace.
See ya.
What do